Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, this is David Altista.
Hey, David.
Hello, Dave.
How are you, man?
Hi, everybody. Boy, it's been a long time.
It has. How you been?
All right, how you doing?
Good. Can't complain.
Good. I'm just glad to be able to get back on here.
Well, I mean, what's the problem? Your hands tied? Were you been busy? Like, were you like chained to a pole in your basement or something?
Well, my regular workplace, the hours changed, and I was not able to get on here, but now I can.
So, like, why can't you just go off to the bathroom and say, "Listen, I'm going to make a phone call for 5 minutes while you're working"?
That's a possibility. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
All right. So what can we do for you, man? What's happening?
Oh, I just wanted to say another thing. I didn't have the time to get onto the forum to try to help others like I always usually do, but now I can. I've been back on. I don't know if you've seen me on the Bold Truth Talk forum, have you?
Yeah, I've checked it out, and
I saw you past couple days.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
You definitely have a very unique way of communicating to these guys on the forum, and I think that, some people take to it and some people don't.
Yeah, well, I try to be really sincere with, especially the young guys.
Well, listen,
because some of these young guys, they think they have hair loss, but they don't. It's just the maturing of hairline.
Yeah,
right?
well, here's the thing, though. You really don't know. I mean, I really think it's important that that's put into perspective, that it's possible that they're dealing with just a mature hairline. But
yes,
I would say that 9 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times, that mature hairline will eventually, sadly, especially if it's very discernible, if they really see a significant difference, will eventually progress into male pattern hair loss.
it gets really mature.
It gets extreme.
Right,
it gets extremely mature. Then you got to kind of comb it over like I do.
Yes, I tried to let them know that they have to be accepting of whatever it is for right now, because things can be fixed in one way or another. Right?
They can be. I think the best option is to try to fix it in your head, like we talk about, and try to. I think acceptance is the key. If a guy, I just spit all over my microphone. If a guy can just deal with it, and he's equipped to just shave his head or cut his hair short and move on, that is, he won the battle of hair loss.
They win.
They win.
I like to say. Yeah.
I was not equipped to do
true.
it. I was not equipped to do that. I am still not equipped to do that. If I have to glue on a hair yarmulke, that's going to happen. If I decide to get a hair transplant, which I was talking about with Joe earlier off the air today, that's always a possibility. If my meds stop working, I mean, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I could end up, I could be wearing a cowboy hat on the air every week. I'm just, that's me. I'm just not,
that's your new shtick for ratings.
Yeah, I'm not mentally equipped to deal with it. I'm just very honest about it. I'm not, it's something that I'm just not comfortable with. I'm barely comfortable in my own skin as it is. So that's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm able to do what I do for so long, because look, I'm honest about it. And you know how much shit you get for being honest about the fact that you are concerned about hair loss? To this day, I'm 51 years old. I still get shit about it. It doesn't matter that I've made my living off of this. It doesn't matter that I made an entire career and I'm a best-selling author and I've done all these things based on my inability to deal with hair loss.
Right.
They still think I'm crazy.
Oh, come on.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, Joe, right?
It's never the a casual acceptance when someone asks me what I do for a living and I tell them. It's not like, oh, cool. How about you? Going to the next person. It's usually like, I'm sorry, you do what?
Yeah. Well, first, what? I got the questions like, oh, so like the hair club, right? I'm like, no, we're kind of like the anti-hair club. We're here to kind of we're here to educate people. So, how exactly do you make your money? How exactly do you do this? So what do you do? Do you sell some sort of a potion or some sort of a lotion, or So what's going on with your hair?
Does it work?
Is that a hair transplant? Is that a hair piece? It just. I should probably just say I'm in construction. And just let it go.
Yeah.
Did you both see those photographs that I put out there, my before and afters? my hair?
I actually did. It's very impressive, man.
What? No, I didn't.
Thank you.
When'd you put those up? I didn't see that. You talking about recently or in the past?
I put it on last week, I believe,
I did not see that.
on the forum. I could tell you which one it was.
Yeah,
Which,
we know it's on the forum. Where else are you going to put it up, dude?
Hold on. Let me. I want to find the name of the thread that I started. Dr. Wesley has begun his third pilofocus phase. So that's
the.
where I
Oh,
put
that's
those pictures.
okay. Right on. I'll look for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let me get out the phone number,
Yeah.
888-659-3727. Obviously, we're going to be speaking with Artista for a while, but feel free to call in if you have any questions, concerns. Someone in the chat room asked, if you get off the pill, will the sexual dysfunction go away? In most cases, or in many cases, it will. But in some cases, it's permanent. And that's important that people understand that. You know, women who are dealing with long-term sexual dysfunction while they're on birth control pills, it's possible that even if they get off of it, they will suffer with a permanent dysfunction. And you don't hear about that. You don't read much about that, but that is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily for most women, that's not the case.
You know, back in 2013, that's when my hair loss really started getting worse, right? But I was accepting of it, and I was going to possibly shave my hair down, right?
Right.
But then I had decided to try the finasteride that you had suggested and everybody else was suggesting. And actually, after about three months' time, I could see a change. My wife could see a change.
Well, shit works, man. It wouldn't be on the market for so long if it didn't work. And, well, I mean, there are, minoxidil has it's been proven to grow hair, but it really is kind of like a marginal thing, in my view. It's kind of more like a Band-Aid. But finasteride changed my life. The reason I'm behind this microphone is because of finasteride, which is, for those who are just tuning in, which is now marketed as Propecia. And initially, I still do take Proscar. That's what changed everything for me.
And you didn't, and I didn't get any bad side effects from it.
Well, I don't know, honestly. I say this I'm very honest. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I can end up, in a year from now, I could, come on the air and say, dude, I have some sort of aggressive form of prostate cancer. I don't fucking know what this is going to do to me. All I do know is that in the short term, or I've been on it for over 20 years, I've done really well with it. I've had no sexual side effects that I'm aware of. And
same here.
You know, it's worked for me. For me, it has been a miracle.
And I have been considering getting PRP, but I don't know if it's really going to help me particularly because my hair is thick. I just need to save the sides and the front.
Well, let me ask you: Are you shaving the sides? I mean, have you noticed? Are you continuing to progress, or do you feel like you're in a good shape right now?
Okay, so my sides are really good.
Sorry, let me stop you. What do you mean by your sides? You mean your temples?
My temple, yeah, I apologize. My temple, yeah, it started to recede a bit. And then I used to do PRP, I do minoxidil, and I did a little bit of emu oil. And right now, and it's really slowly progressing. Like, I always had a really high hairline, and I've had friends who, like, had a complete hairline, and they're gone. And I'm still, like, holding ground really well. I've lost a drop, but the problem is I don't have much to lose, right? But I have lost a drop. And I'm taking 2.5 milligrams of finasteride. So I'm taking a pretty strong dosage. And I was thinking about going on PRP to thicken up a little bit the temples, the sides. And I was wondering if it's a good idea.
Well, what would happen if, and this does happen with some patients.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hi, can you hear me? Joe,
speak. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Technical difficulties.
Well, call back, man. Let's see if I can hear his. Guys, call back, 888-659-3727. So, let's see if we can get him here. Hey, man, can you hear me?
Yeah, Spencer, sorry. I think I got caught. I got disconnected.
Sorry, man.
Not sure why.
My advice is this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, exactly. If you go through PRP, it's very possible that you can go through telogen effluvium. Now, It happens with some people. It doesn't happen with others. I know someone in my personal life that goes and has it done, quarterly, and they have incredible results. They really do, and they don't go through any type of a telogen effluvium or shedding. But in your case, you're kind of holding your own. You're on finasteride. Why? What's with the hair greed, man? Just I understand it, but just if you're holding on to what you have right now, and you feel relatively comfortable with the way you look, don't fuck with it. Don't be a Joe from Staten Island.
I'm a big believer in. I hate using this phrase, but less is more.
Right. Yeah.
Because once you start,
that's what you said when you first met your wife, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'll answer that question. I do see, I find that a little change on my condition will have a profound visual effect.
Yeah, a little change, a little negative change is going to have a profound effect as well.
Course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you're seeing the risk of, I see. I mean, that's why I'm a little bit, conscious about it, but understood.
Well, back to what I was saying is every time you introduce a new variable into your routine, that variable has another opportunity to cause more damage than good. And
understood.
And when you start, combining all these things, first off, you wind up not having any time to even go to school or work or whatever you do during most of the day because you're too busy in the bathroom doing all these crazy things to keep your hair. But in all seriousness, when you start adding these different things, number one, you're not really going to be sure what's working and what's not working. Number two, you do introduce a higher probability of causing, like Spencer said, a telogen effluvium, or if you start derma rolling and you are doing it. If you're doing it too much, you might cause a lot of micro scarring that is compounded by something else you're doing. And it's just there's so many factors that play into your daily routine. You don't know what the fuck's working and what's not, and it's going. It could cause problems. Could drive you nuts because you're so concerned about everything. It's just it's too much, and I think that like Spencer said, if you feel relatively comfortable in your own skin now, then
I definitely do. Yeah.
Keep the status quo. Don't keep introducing new possibilities for disaster.
That's very very well said, actually.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, I mean, I really don't spend much time on my hair. It's kind of like brushing my teeth. I don't do anything during the day. I only put minoxidil on once a night. That's it.
Okay.
I sleep on it. I wake up and shower.
Okay, good.
I try not to let it.
Good. Then don't become that guy that does spend all day in the bathroom.
Yeah, and also,
hell no.
But
fixing his hair.
But you are continuing to do some research. You're going online. You are, kind of dabbling and trying to figure out, what's the next great thing? What should I try? Do your best to just live your life, and I know that you're saying that you are. Be happy with what you have. And obviously, if you're comfortable in your own skin right now, just enjoy it. Don't think about what may be happening a year from now. Live for today. Because right now you're doing well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Definitely.
And then if you call us in a few months or whenever you want to call us, and you say, hey, you know what? I see that I'm starting to progress. Then we can talk about what you might want to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, and just so you know, I've considered bimodipros. I mean, I'm waiting for it to come out, but I have a dermatologist who said that they can mix me up with some stuff. So I do have a few planned in case things get a little chaotic, but I definitely agree with everything you guys said. So thank you for that.
All right, man. Well, listen, best of luck. I appreciate the call.
Joe, Spencer, be well, guys.
All right, you take care, Sam.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Sam, I am. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. I'm going to take a quick break, Joe. When we come back, we will take your phone calls. Let's see. What time is it? I mean, I'll do at least another half an hour.
Yeah, at least.
I know that we wanted to discuss something initially that we never got a chance to discuss at the top of the show.
Yes, and we can talk about that. And there's also, I want to address a question that was posed to me by TBT viewer 71540.
You want to address that now? Go ahead.
Sure. The question is, Joe, from your previous statements, would you mind explaining your reservations about Megasessions, especially when it comes to repair work? It's a great two questions, or a sub-question. Yeah, I think, look, I used to be the poster boy for Megasessions, but I never had a Megasession. I had multiple smaller sessions. So I know that worked for me. And mega sessions can be a phenomenal, life-changing procedure. But when you're doing 4,000 or more grafts in one session, you're also risking over half of your donor zone in one pop. And while mega sessions do have a fairly good track record, there are multiple people out there that you haven't heard of, or that you haven't seen, or that you have seen and they disappeared, that were that guy that it didn't work out so well for, and now the majority of their donor is gone. And I don't like seeing that. I don't like the promotion of that. I don't think that it's the safest route to take. I mean, the safest route is no hair transplant surgery at all, zilch. Moving on without surgery. That's the best way to go. But if you have to have surgery, if you have to address your hair loss in a surgical fashion, be it follicular unit strip surgery or follicular unit extraction, either way, you don't want to, throw it all against the wall to see what sticks, and risking the fact that it doesn't stick and 60% of your donor is gone because.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because then you've got 40% remaining to make up for what the 60% didn't accomplish.
And and the logic, it makes sense. You want one and done if possible, 2 surgeries at the most. You want to get the most bang for your buck. But what you have to realize is, and I have seen some incredible results, and it must be wonderful for a guy to go in there and get 4,000 or 5,000 grafts and have such a that it would has such a significant impact on their appearance.
Yeah.
But like Joe said, you don't see in most cases the guys where the grafts didn't grow and they're fucked up. Now, I'm going to be interviewing a doctor who is doing FUE Megasessions now. He's been having a lot of success. He wants to talk about it. I'm doing that interview on Friday, so we should get it up on Bald Truth Talk sometime next week. Mm-hmm. And we can kind of get his perspective and, based on his experience and what he's doing in his practice. But I'm here to tell you that when I have this conversation with this guy, I'm going to say exactly what Joe just said. My belief has always been, and I've told the doctors throughout the years, listen, let these other guys put out the 4,000, 5,000 graft cases. Don't be pressured to do that. Yeah. Because you got to put out what, in my belief, what is going to be the safest and the average case that a patient is going to have in your practice. The guys that we're putting out the 4,000 and 5,000 graft cases, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in most cases that wasn't their average case during the week. Those were their home run cases, period. And that's what they wanted to show online. And creates a lot of leverage. It's great marketing.
It's sexy. It's sexy to see a bald guy no longer bald. Right. Front to back in one shot. But let me put a little perspective on this. The bald guy that's got 2,500 grafts, where the hairline is now established and the mid scalp is now covered and he's got enough to style, but his crown is bald. He's just as happy as a guy that got 5,000. It's a perspective issue.
That's right.
It's a personal perspective issue, and I guarantee you that if you are a Norwood 6. And you get a 3,000 graft session, you will be just as happy as the guy that got a 6,000 graft session. And you'll be in a safer position in case the yield isn't what you're hoping it will be.
I actually think that the mega session guys in general, and it started way back. It started
15 years ago.
Well, I mean, Bill Rasmussen is one of the first guys. And, there were some issues back in the day, but he did some incredible work.
Yeah.
But, I think that in general, once the online world really started to take off, the guys that were showing the mega sessions and what they called mega sessions, these really large, 3,500 to, in some cases, 6,000 graft sessions. And I may get a phone call about this tomorrow, but I think it really did a lot of patients a tremendous disservice, potential patients.
It did.
And I think that people had unrealistic expectations. And I also think that it made it more difficult for the physicians themselves. They didn't realize it, but they were putting out these expectations. Patients expected these incredible results off of one procedure, and they weren't getting them. And then all of a sudden, the complaints were coming in when they would have been happy if they knew, okay, this is what a 2,500 graft procedure looks like. This is what I'm going in for. I'm a good candidate for this procedure. I'm probably going to come away with similar results.
Yeah.
They set themselves up for failure.
Absolutely. It's a self-perpetuating, constantly turning wheel of expectations. They feel the pressure to do these big sessions because they've already set the stage for big sessions to be the norm.
And there's a money factor involved. You have to realize, you're being paid per graft. So if you're doing, say you're averaging $4 a graft.
And what is a graft?
Yeah, that's true. You're averaging $4 a graft. You do 4,000 grafts. That's not hay. That's some real money. You do two of those procedures a day. You're making some dough.
That's every 20 days. It's $1 million. I'll put it to you like that. How's that sound?
Yeah, I know.
We're close to it.
Believe me, I know.
To address the second part of TBT viewer 71540's question, especially when it comes to repair work, it's an even slippery slope when you're a repair patient, because back up to my own case, my first surgery as a repair patient was 2,406 grafts. That was 14 years ago, almost 15 years ago.
Your hair really is looking good, though, I got to tell you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Had the technology and the experience been what it is today, to where I could have had maybe 4,000 grafts, where would I be now if those 4,000 grafts went down the can and didn't grow? You
would be that picture that you have on your website.
Which one?
The one with you smiling and waving? And all you had was plugs in the front?
Oh yeah. There's so many of those.
That's what you would be. Now, listen,
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be, the former Joe Tronick, the now Joe Tillman, in a position where I'm done with hair restoration. I would be. You would not be making the big bucks. What? Yeah. So that's why repair work is even more important to handle with care, with kid gloves.
Let's take well said, by the way. Let's take a quick phone call, and then I'm going to take this break. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Dave Artista again.
Jesus. Dude, one call a show.
Jesus, man. Leave room for others.
Hey,
what's up?
I apologize. I wanted to see, Joe, what did you think about those pictures of my hair?
You look hairy, dude. You look good.
It's looking good, right? And it's still ongoing, of course, right?
Well, how many grafts do you have total?
500 plus. And it was all free because I was a part of that phase test.
Okay, all right. Now you're just promoting it, but how much of that was from from the medication? Because I remember looking at your photos after your Propecia results, and it was a phenomenal turnaround. So how much of a difference did the 500 grafts make above and beyond that?
Well, the last couple of months, my scalp started really looking good. It's starting to look better in the last few months now because of the grafts.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, you've got an additional boost because it's not just 500 grafts; it's 500 terminal hairs, or actually probably closer to about 1,000 terminal hairs, depending on the hair counts, to boost the great turnaround that you had with Propecia. So, congratulations, man. I mean, you win. You look fantastic. I mean, I've not seen the full face photo with you going, but no, the hair looks good. So congratulations.
Can we see that?
Thank you so much.
Can you do a little like a Vine or something, or just some sort of a video where you just do what Joe did?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I imagine I could.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to improve a little bit more, and I can't wait to see how it's going to look by November.
How long has it been since you had the procedure?
It started in November. It was in November. Yeah.
Okay, so you're what? 9 months? Wait, August.
Yeah, I think so. Was it 9 months now? Yeah.
Let's put it this way: you were a guy with no hair that now has a hairline that you can comb.
Yeah.
It's a big
Right.
difference.
That's a huge win.
Yes, exactly.
All right, man. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you go, or actually, I'm gonna cut you off.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to take a break.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take
We'll
care.
talk to you later. All right. Take care.
All right,
Thanks for the
bye-bye.
call. Take care. Brush your hair. 888-659-3727. I'll take one call before we go to break, and that's it. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Staten Island. Hello.
Is this not Joe from Staten Island?
This is not Joe from Staten Island.
It's been a long time, guys. I have not heard Joe. My accent is my impression is losing. It's failing. Just give me 30 more seconds, and I'll explain why.
You actually sound like some sort of a villain,
I was going to say, yeah.
like some sort of a Batman villain.
Well, that was my point in calling in. I haven't heard Joe in so long, man. I'm losing it. I'm losing the impression. I have to go to the archives and listen to
You should.
the old ones. Where are you, Joe? How come you don't call in anymore? This drama has got to end. It's got to stop.
It's not going to stop.
Never will.
No?
God bless him.
I don't know what to do, man. Can I donate my hair to him? Would he take my hair?
You know what? I don't even know. I mean, you have incredible hair, but who knows if it's good enough for him?
Probably not.
Yeah.
You know?
I do have a 5-head. I got a wicked 5-head, so he might want
No,
like
dude. Come on. Actually, you
He wants a 3-head.
you actually have really good hair. So I don't even know why you listen to the show. I mean, besides the fact that we're so talented and entertaining.
Wait, I'm telling you, like you said, if you think you have some hair loss and you're looking in the mirror every day, then it kind of is up to you. And it looks nice, when I go out to work. It's not terrible, but and I'm not trying to be picky or anything, but there's something there for sure. And I started taking the Propecia the last 2 years, so I've stopped it.
I'm not trying to be picky,
to a degree.
but I'm being picky.
No, but listen. In all fairness, I see him in a dark restaurant. I'm not really checking it out that closely. I mean, I did have a couple of drinks the last time I saw him, more than a couple. So I may have been staring a little harder than usual. And I still was like, this guy's got a really good hairline. But who knows? I mean, maybe you gimmick it up. I don't know what goes on under those lights. It's dark in there.
All I really do is just kind of quaff it a little bit and then just let it be dry. Like if I put product in it, like a heavy product like gel or some sort of mousse and keep it wet, you can kind of see see through a little bit, and then in the sunlight too. So it's like, it's one of those things where I can still swim, but when I come up from underneath the water, you do that little little sprig of your hair. You just kind of like shake all the water out of it, so it gives it a little volume because you're like, if this thing slicks one way, it does look a little wicked. But I know I know compared to most of your callers, I'm probably okay. But like I said, if I wasn't in the industry, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
If you weren't, in the industry. When I think of industry, I'm always thinking about our industry. You're talking about like the entertainment industry.
The industry.
Yeah. Doing entertainment,
Yeah.
And so it's like Propecia and now JFM, Just for Men, is now my best friend. So it's like, that's right.
I saw you, and you had wearing a beard, and you dyed your beard, and you said you dyed your hair too. And again, in that lighting, and again, I was like, I must have had about 5 Manhattans at that point. It looked really natural. I'm usually not a fan of dyeing your hair.
Yeah, I don't want to do it, but when I go out to the auditions, man, I got this weird face, like what I look like, and it's not like if there's a role for a father figure, I don't get it because I don't have that aged look, that
right.
wise look, and even if it's not an old father, if it says young father, they still don't pick me, and I don't get Zac Efron. I'm past that stage, so I'm like in this weird gray area, like maybe just out of college kind of guy, but it just. So it's weird to kind of go out.
You could kind of be like the older, like the 30-something slacker, for sure.
Is that how they describe it in the journals where they're calling for auditions, looking for just out of college guy?
Yeah, you don't get too many of those, but that's what I look for. If I see that, I'm like, there's my bitch.
I'm in.
But the funny thing is, I was calling for a story. I'm not going to use any names, and I can't even use the production company or whatever the company. But I kind of got stalked by an upper level management from, I shouldn't say management. I don't even want to say the position, but just to say, if you're an actor, it's a good person to know. It's a really extremely good person to know. And I didn't know who this person was. And, of course, it's not a girl. It can't be a girl that's stalking me. I don't know why. I served this person in the restaurant, and they're kind of being a little flirtatious. There's two of them, two guys. And they're like giving me, they're like, you an actor too? And I'm like, yeah, I do. You know, we're in L.A.
Let me tell you something. I'm not going to say because you didn't tell me the story, but I'm assuming it's someone in casting. And if you are a male casting, I mean, to me, as a guy, as a heterosexual guy, that seems like the best fucking job in the world to be a male casting director because there's not that many of them, at least straight ones.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly who he is. And, you know, I can't attest for, I mean, you're right. You got everything going your way. Trust me. Even straight or gay, if you're in casting, I mean, even if you're trying to be an ethical person, you're going to be put to the test because even if you're not going, hey, there's the casting couch, so to speak.
Right.
People are going to be like, where's the casting couch? I'll do anything to be famous.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like, so I was sitting there.
I think there's like a whole porn channel about that. Not that I would know these things. That's what I heard.
Of course not. Of course not. Don't check your browser history though. So I serve them, and I make them laugh and whatever, kind of the same thing. I serve you, we have a little good time, and then they leave, and didn't really tell me that, but I could tell they were somewhere in the industry. They said that they were like, a part of a comedy troupe or something like that, and I was like, okay, maybe they were scouting me for that, or maybe they just, but whatever. So I got the vibe that they were flirtatious, but they weren't openly like extravagant. So I go home, and the next day in my email, there's a box, and it said this name, very strange name to me because it was basically like a combination of words that you just don't take as a name.
Right.
And so I was about to spam it, and then I go in there and I go, what is this? What is this from? And I look at it, and I thought it was like dick enlargement kind of pill email spam shit because the name did not work for me. It's like if I said,
was there Vaughn or the something?
No, it was a name like Mark, and then the last name throws it off. It's like Mark Everhard or something like that. But it wasn't.
I thought going to say like Mark, come over, drop your shorts, or something.
Might as well been. But so like I almost spammed it. I looked in it, and then it said thanks for the bread, kind of a thing, or with service or something about the food. And I was like, cool, all right. What? And I I kind of bounced back and I said, who is this? And did I serve you? And they're like, you don't remember? And then,
well, first of all, how many people do you give your email address to? I mean, that's one.
I didn't. That's the thing I'm telling you. I never gave them my information. They got my name. They knew my name, first name, Steven. I don't even know if I told them the last name. They looked me.
So they hit you up through Facebook. Is that what you young people say? Hit you up, right?
Young cats.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what fake name I gave you here. One of my fake aliases. Anyways, they look up whatever my real name is. Okay, on the website IMDb, this person gets my email, then sends me an email. So that's how they got a hold of me. I never gave anything out to.
Okay.
So I fought the ball back and finally figured out who it was.
Because all I remember is I didn't remember it, but apparently I was at your restaurant one night and you had airdropped all these images. I opened my phone the next day and there's all these headshots of you.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
Duck facing.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? I had no recollection that you did that. Anyway.
See, Joe from Staten Island doesn't know how to do it. See, Joe, you got to wait till you get close to Spencer. Then you just duck face him with a bunch of pictures in his phone. He wakes up the next morning after you Cosby him, and he's like, I must have had an affair with this young kid. And there you go. You're in, Joe. That's how you make it happen.
I don't know what this young man's saying.
It's basically... Andrew and him came into the place, and Andrew was trying to hook me up with a girl, and so I said, let me send you a picture, but I didn't want to be aggressively invasive to his life, so I just kind of airdropped it as opposed to getting the phone number. But he forgot I did that. And I gave it to Spencer to give to Andrew, and then. But
first of all, you need to know this. You cannot believe anything Andrew Zarian says when it comes to him. Right. If he has a couple of drinks in him, all of a sudden the guy's a fucking astronaut.
So you're saying that the girl he told me about in New York, that one he showed me pictures of, he's not going to hook me up with?
She probably doesn't exist. He probably somehow real quick got the pictures off of Facebook.
Really? So what was the point of that? To get pictures of me? Is Andrew got a little?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to like ingratiate himself with you. Like, hey, wait a second, he's a cool guy. I want to somehow, make this guy like me. I don't know.
There's a word that when people are filling out other sexualities, it's called curious. So you tell him next time you see him, say, Stephen asks, is this Stephen? Is that the name I gave you?
No, but is that the name that you gave me when we?
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to say what name you gave me. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Whatever my fake name is on this.
Oh, so you want to know if he's bi-curious?
No, I don't want to know. I want to know why he's fishing me in to get.
No, honestly, dude. Like I said, I don't really remember that, so I don't know which girl he was showing you. It's possible that it was a real person. Maybe it wasn't a real person. I have no idea.
In case you're tuning in late, everyone, this is the hair show.
That's true.
We talk about men's and women's hair loss issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Just so everybody knows, there's actually a hair topic coming up to the story. We're not going to veer off too far. So
all right, well, let me give out the phone number just in case someone wants to ask you a hair loss question. What is your name today?
Let me look this. You know what? It was Brian.
Brian. Okay.
From LA. There it is.
All right. It's the phone number is 888-659-3727. Okay, Brian. So continue the story.
So, anyways, okay. So the guy, me, we're emailing back and forth, and I'm not trying to bark up his tree and everything, And he's asking me, so how long you been in LA and what have you been doing and all this stuff, and I tell him, and he throws out this disclaimer, and I don't know if this is part of the casting couch.
Was it a no homo disclaimer?
No, it was actually like, hey,
nice hair, no homo.
If you're talking to me, don't expect me to do anything for your career. And I'm like, double disclaimer. If you're talking to me, don't expect your penis anywhere in any of my organs.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So we're at an impasse.
Yeah.
Vice
I
versa.
get no movie pictures, and he gets no action. And so I don't know.
That is a very...
Sounds like an impasse.
Yeah, and that's a very funny story, actually. So, I mean, he just put it out there right away. Like, so, all right, so then why would I talk to you?
Well,
that's what you should have said.
The thing is, I told him, out of the two of us, only one of us is a stalker, so I don't know why you're telling me this.
Right.
I didn't bark up your tree, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like... So, but it's pretty funny, but it's nice to know that I have enough ethics not to go that far, because it kind of seems like, anybody in this industry, if you really want to be famous and you really want parts, you'll do all sorts of stuff, dye your hair, propecia, hair transplant.
Give hand jobs, whatever.
And then it comes to hand jobs. Yeah. And then before you start eating out of the trash, you go to someone's pants. That's how it works.
Jesus.
What's the difference?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be glad you didn't start. Be glad you didn't follow this career path. I mean,
I think I am glad.
It's actually, but here's the thing: if you make it, it's glorious, right?
If I make it, you got an archive of BS stories to go sift through and put on the internet.
Well, first of all, if you make it, you have to promote the bald truth at some point in your career.
Yes.
Like whether it's like through Twitter, whatever it is, like you blow up, you have to tweet something out about the bald truth. You can even make believe like you never even heard of the show. Like, wow, look at this fucked up, bizarre show, and that's it.
Well,
actually, that would be preferable for the shock factor.
Yeah.
People come look.
Exactly. I can write a memoir or autobiography about it, and I could say about how, I used to call in all the time and tell you about how gay people used to pick up on me at the restaurant.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then once we stop talking about Andrew, we can talk about the guy from.
Oh,
I was waiting for the setup.
No,
so many opportunities.
I am curious though. I don't know what girl or who he was showing you. I mean, I know a couple of some chicks who are in his life and in his wife's life who are recently single. One in particular, who I think has curly hair. She's very cute.
If I really wanted to go there, I would have dropped your girlfriend's name, but I'm not going to do that as a joke. Now, I don't know the girl's name. I don't know her look. I just remember her look, should I say. I remember what she looked like, but I don't know her name.
Okay.
And I don't know why he threw her at me. But
Who knows?
As it goes to say, if you remember last year, I told you I was trying to fund my own short film, and there was going to be a segment about the vulnerability of hair. It wasn't going to be dialogue or anything; it's a dramatic piece,
right,
so to speak. But there's a point when, I mean, we've all done it, and I have it written in the script already, where he's depressed and he takes a shower and he looks in the mirror, and you see the sadness in his eyes, and then he starts to, as he stops staring at his eyes, he starts to look at his chin, his face, and then his forehead. Then he starts to dig in his hairline.
His hairline, yeah.
And and I actually wanted to show like close-ups of what he sees. You know, like kind of like I'm losing it. I'm losing my youth. I'm losing everything, and show that vulnerability because I think it's an important part of knowing who the character thinks about himself, but it's also important because I think that in general, how we as all viewers feel about ourselves inside and out and how we look at ourselves, we don't ever get that depicted in movies. Like, yeah, you'll see somebody who's a druggie or you'll see someone who's a prostitute or whatever, a myriad of other type of social diseases, but they don't ever really show, hey, this is bothering me, this particular intimacy in the mirror, just the aging. And I mean, I've seen a couple things, but I've never seen a guy actually kind of go there and show actually some real male pattern baldness.
You should actually
Johnny Depp.
Open your underwear and look down and have a real disappointed look on your face as well. Well, that's reality, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It happens. You know?
Yeah. Well, so far I haven't even found any gray down there, but once that happens, there's going to be another moment in the bathroom of screaming at myself.
Another box of Just for Men? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yes, hello, Spencer.
Joe.
Yes.
Holy shit. Guys, by the way, if you're tuning in through Facebook, go to thebaldtruth.com. Joe from Staten Island is calling in, which is like a fucking miracle. Joe, how are you, man?
I'm terrible. As Dave Bautista told you, he's counseling me every day to try to get through the day.
All right, so let's talk about it. What's going on? I mean, I know what happened, but it's been over a year since you've been upset by what happened with the laser cap and what happened with the minoxidil product. What's going on?
Well, I've been totally devastated. I lost all of my friends. I'm not able to leave my house, and my life has ended. The laser cap, this doctor ended my life.
Now, look, Joe, I love you, man, and you've been calling the program for almost 20 years, but you are a guy that lives under a hat. When I met you, you wore a hat. You've been wearing a hat for 20, 30 years. If the product didn't work for you, and if you lost some hair, you went through a telogen effluvium because of whether it was the laser cap, which I doubt is what caused it, or the minoxidil preparation, how is it so different? How is your life so different now? You disguised your hair loss by wearing a hat all the time anyway.
But the hair never grew back.
Okay. I mean, that I could see why that would make you upset. But at this stage, at the age of 57 years old, as a hair loss sufferer for all of your life, why are you all of a sudden now in such a dark place? Just, I mean, what happens if you would have lost it naturally? There would have been a good chance of that. I mean, you're 57 years old. And how much hair did you really lose? I mean, what percentage of the hair that you maintained over the years did you lose from using these products?
80% of it.
80%.
Yep, I'm devastated. I'm a shell of a man. I've lost my life. I've lost everything. I'm unable to make phone calls. Dave Bautista called me and told me to call up, and it took me a lot to make this call. I just love doing the show every week. I still love being part of the show. Now I'm a totally isolated person.
Well, maybe listen, maybe you should call more often. Excuse me, and this way you won't feel so isolated. You understand, dude? You are not fucking alone. This is what the show is about. And we are here to give you the best guidance we can. But, you knew. I mean, you're a guy that's been researching hair loss forever. I mean, the fact that you tell me that you didn't realize that you could end up losing some hair by introducing any agent, whether it's finasteride or minoxidil or the laser comb or the laser cap, into your regimen. the fact that you seem so unaware that that's a possibility, it's hard for me to believe because you're online all the time researching.
I never thought it was possible. The doctor never told me it was possible.
Well, I mean, let me tell you. I mean, there had to be some sort of. I mean, did you sign any type of a release form? Did you sign any type of a consent form?
Nothing.
Okay, Joe, help me out here, dude. I don't even know what to tell this guy anymore.
Well, it's like you said, you know, Joe, you've been living under a hat all this time anyway, and I understand it's traumatic losing your hair, but to everyone around you, you don't look any different because you're always wearing a hat. So what's different?
I feel different. I feel like I've lost 2 limbs. I hate the doctor who did this to me. I hate it with passion.
Now, hate's a strong word because he didn't do this to you. Now, I mean, you got to understand that he didn't do this to you. Okay, he made some recommendations, which you gladfully accepted. Is that a word? No, happily accepted.
I would say happily, yeah, or gladly,
or gladly, and you know, there's always a potential. You know this, Joe. There's always a potential that if you're going to stimulate hair to grow, that there's always a potential for stimulating that hair to shed as well. A telogen effluvium, you know, more of a minor scale shed. You stopped using, if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you stopped using minoxidil, right?
I'm using minoxidil now, and the hair is not growing back.
But I remember specifically, you told me at one point a few years ago that your hair wasn't growing to begin with. You had hair that was just, you know, half a centimeter long, and it wasn't growing.
Right. It never grew, but this product and this laser cap made the hair actually fall out.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Let me ask you this question, Joe.
Devastated.
When you're talking about the hair falling out, are you talking about your transplanted hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
what percentage of the transplanted hair do you believe fell out?
80%. Excuse me.
Okay. Now, there must have been some baseline pictures. Have you gone back to the doctor? I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that pictures had to be taken.
Doctor never took any pictures.
Did you tell him not to take any pictures? Because this is
This is
a doctor who takes a lot of pictures. He's a big documenter.
He came to my hotel room, if you remember, brought me a laser cap.
I do remember that, and honestly, you know, I mean, it was a big thing, and you know, look, Joe, I'm sorry that you're going through this, but all I can tell you is that when you went into this, there was always a possibility, and the fact that you've been listening to the show for 20 years, you should know that anytime you add something that can possibly make your hair grow, there's also a possibility that it's going to make your hair shed. Yeah. That's just the way that it works.
Never thought that in a million years, Spencer.
All right. I'm going to let Joe. I want the guys on Facebook Live to be able to listen to Joe a little bit. So, Joe, Tillman, why don't you talk to Joe? And I'm just going to turn off my mic.
Well, Joe, what?
No pressure, by the way.
Yeah, no pressure. Thanks, Joe. What? This happened how long ago? I remember the conversations you were having about. It was 1 year ago. Okay.
Never go back.
How soon after you took or started using the device did your hair start to shed? Did the transplant start to shed?
About 3 months.
3 months. Now, you know hair loss quite well. I'll always give you your credit there. You know a lot about hair loss, but you also know that transplanted hair, while it's supposed to be immune to the effects of DHT and the causes of hair loss, you know that there is no such thing as 100% truly DHT resistant hair. However, this isn't something that's talked about, and it's certainly not something that's expected when we introduced new, how can I say, what's the word?
Agents.
Spencer's off. Oh,
Agents.
you said you turned this off.
I did. I did. I
Yeah.
just the mic back on.
Agents.
Listen,
but hang on. So the thing is that you're saying that you hate the doctor because he didn't tell you that this could happen. Well, number one, you don't hate the doctor, but number two, this isn't expected to happen. Come on, Joe. You can't hate someone for this because no one expects this to happen to begin with. It's not like doctors are sitting there saying, "Hey, I want to help this guy who's on this national or syndicated program. I want to help him with his hair, knowing full well that it's going to shed."
Like, I want to help this guy that's on the internationally syndicated radio show that calls in all the time for the last 20 years, and I want to fuck him up, and I want to make sure that he loses his hair.
It makes no sense.
That was certainly not his intention. And, I did, honestly, I was very open about it. I was open about it with you. I told this doctor, I said, you know what, you may not want to do this because if something doesn't go well, there's going to be some, possible consequences. And that is, this could end up throwing Joe over the edge.
This is actually what I'm talking about with Megasessions.
Yeah.
It's like you can't throw everything in a bucket at once because it may not work out.
Put me over the edge, Spencer. It's put me over the edge.
Dude, listen.
I'm a recluse.
All I can tell you is, first of all, dude, come on. You say you're a recluse now. You've been a recluse since you've been calling the show in 1998. I mean, I know that you're working at the time, but for years you were telling me that all you did was, fucking pop pills, drink, your jugs of wine, and eat steaks in your underwear. It's funny. The people that are just hearing me one way through Facebook, or they're like, "What the fuck is he talking about?
What the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah.
I need to tune in more.
Joe, I'm really sorry, man, but I think there's someone calling who wants to talk to you. So let's see who this is. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hello, Joe. Are you there?
This is Brian, not Joe from Staten Island.
Hey, Joe, man, what's up?
Who is this?
I hear you. This is Brian from L.A., oftentimes known as not Joe from Staten Island, because I miss you so much that I have to emulate you when I call because I need a little Joe in my life. But you haven't been calling in, man, and we're kind of worried about you. And now that I'm listening to the podcast and I'm hearing you talk, you do understand that the people talking to you care about you, right? And the people listening to you care about you, right?
I appreciate that.
Okay, so here's the deal, buddy. Here's the deal. We know that you feel like you have this hatred for this doctor. I mean, this is just what I'm getting. And you use the laser cap, and you say that you have significant 80% hair loss from the transplant.
Transplanted hair loss.
Transplanted hair loss. When did you do this transplant?
About 30 years ago.
30 years ago. And so you're obviously, the point that what I hear that Spencer and Joe are trying to make to you is that, I know that you feel like, again, I want to preface this by saying we care about you and we're trying to help you. We want you to feel better. I know that you're feeling very depressed and very, emotional about what happened, what transpired. But from our ears and what we know about you, not much has really changed. I mean, you always go out with the hat on and the bandage, and you're very, you weren't. I've been listening to you for 4 years now, and you weren't like a beaming ray of light before this laser cap, and now I think that you're trying to, I'm not saying that you're lying or you're whatever about this laser cap, but it feels like you're putting all your unhappiness on this one person and this one contraption, which, by the way, I do have a laser cap as well. And
guys, let me interject here. And guys who are watching the feed on Facebook, obviously, when I turn on my mic, you're not going to hear the show because you're hearing the show through my monitors. I'm considering hooking up the program to do it live on Facebook as well, but I figured, you know what? Let's have some guys just kind of like see what's happening in the studio. But Joe, I think Brian is right. And I'm not saying that you're not suffering. I'm not saying that you're not going through something new, because you are. This is a new stage in your hair loss. You've been able to hold on to the transplanted hair, which you've, incidentally, as Brian mentioned, covered up for the last 30 years. So it wasn't as though it was doing you any good anyway. But you were able to hold on to that for a long time. Now that's gone. You tried to help yourself in kind of a last-ditch effort to get out of your depression. It didn't work. But, God almighty, man, you're 57 years old. You have a fucking family. You're an ex-cop. You've got plenty of money. You have a lot of life ahead of you. You got to get it to, I know how difficult it is, but you got to figure out a way to become comfortable in your own skin and just, get well. You have people who are depending on you. I'm not saying you have to be the happiest guy in the world. I understand it sucks to deal with what you're dealing with. But we've made you offers to, kind of get you the best hair pieces known to man. You're married. No one's going to, people on the street aren't going to know. Why don't you do that? Give it a shot. See if you can get out of bed.
It's been so bad, Spencer. I haven't been taking showers. I haven't taken a shower for 2 weeks. That's how bad I've gotten. I haven't shaved. Depression is taking my life over, thanks to this doctor, who I hate.
Oh, again, I don't mean to laugh, but you're blaming this doctor. You've been calling the fucking show for 20 years, and you've been depressed for 20 years. Okay? I don't mean to give you shit, Joe, but I'm telling you, man, Brian is definitely right. We're all here. We miss you when you don't call in. We worry about you. When I get emails and texts from Artista saying that you're talking about suicide, that's pretty scary stuff. I take that very seriously.
That's true, Spencer.
So all I can tell you, man, is I'm a prime example, and Joe's a prime example. And I know that you're in a worse situation, but there is life after hair loss. Look at Joe Tillman right now on camera. This guy was a Norwood 7, bald as fuck. Okay? And now he's lucky enough to have some really great, 2 bad hair transplants, but a lot of great repair work. He looks great, and he figured it out. There are guys out there who are wearing hair systems that live great lives. You are married. You don't have to worry about, going to the bars and picking up chicks. You can go out and enjoy your life and feel comfortable in your own skin. Why don't you just do it? Brian, help me out here, man.
Try it. Just walk out the door.
Listen, Joe, I'm a fan of yours. Okay? Understand that. I'm a fan of yours. Okay? I like you. You make me laugh. Even your depression sometimes gets to me a little bit, but it's time to start looking at other things in your life, is what we're saying. You need to reclaim your life, because your life is passing you by. And you always you blame. I heard you one day on Mother's Day and Father's Day, you blamed your father and your mother because they gave you this disease. Well, you can't keep blaming everything. At some point, you need to reclaim your life. This one girlfriend cheated on me, and we've all, maybe not all been there, but many of us have been there, or at least you've been to a breakup. And what happens, you get really depressed, and the sun doesn't look as bright. You hear music on the radio, and you're like, it reminds me of her. And at some point, you realize, you have to get to a point where you realize that you have to reclaim your life. You can't run away from the radio. You can't run away from happiness. You got to sit there and say, screw that bitch. And in this case, the bitch is the hair loss. It's not the doctor. It's not the laser contraption, because in all fairness, that person was trying to help you. He was trying to help you. If it didn't work out for you, and everything you're saying is the truth, we're all sorry about that, but he wasn't trying to hurt you. He was trying to help you. And so the bitch is hair loss. And you got to say, screw this bitch. I want to live my life. I want to be happy, and I want to experience what life has to offer. And one sad thing about life, but as soon as you accept this, the better it becomes. There's 2 things about that life is guaranteed to happen, is loss and change. And it's going to happen. I'm losing my athleticism. I'm losing part of my hair. I'm losing some of my looks. I'm getting wrinkly, and I'm changing. I'm living in a studio apartment. Last year I was in a 2-bedroom. You got to be willing to whirl with the change and the loss of life to reclaim your life, and be happy within the moment that you're in, because you have a son. And just like you blamed your parents, you chose to have a son, and maybe you gave this to him, maybe you didn't, but that doesn't matter. You can't restrict your life from this disease or any disease.
Dude, I got to tell you, Brian, I think Andrew Zarian should give you your own show. I could I actually now know that I can just hang it up and move on and just put you behind this mic.
Well, thank you, but we at this moment, I'm worried about you, Joe. And honestly, this attitude you have, you can't be hating other people and you can't be hating your life because you have a son to raise and you could be enjoying those years with him. You know, you are showing him something by being secluded in your room, not taking showers, and being obsessed with this disease. And it's not as easy as snapping your fingers, but it's time to look elsewhere because there's something within your psychosis, your head, your psychology, your emotional state that is causing you to focus and just completely dwell deeper and deeper into this depression. And it's not, I got to tell you, it doesn't sound like it's just hair loss. It sounds like hair loss is the scapegoat or the thing that you can directly pinpoint as the beginning of your depression. But there's something else. And if you need to talk to somebody, if you need to see somebody, I suggest you do it. But, you got to understand that you've touched people. You touched me. I got to admit, you upset me many times because I'm like, come on, Joe, get out of it. I want you to go to the beach and learn to surf or something. I want to hear some sparkly, sunshiny story about you and your son. But every time I hear you, it's this, screw this company because they haven't cured it, and, screw this person because they hurt me. It's like, I get it. We all been hurt. My stepmother hurt me. I'm not going to bring that up, but, I let that go years ago. You got to let it go. You got to move on. I'll let you guys get your show back.
Believe me, you never met my father. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So listen, guys, we're going to close up shop, but Joe, I'm glad you called in. And I mean, at least we know that you're, still with us. You're on this earth, and you should call more often, man. If you feel isolated, this is your place once a week. Give us a call, check in. And Brian, man, listen, you read in the Riot Act, but you gave him great advice.
Brian's a good guy.
Well, I love you, Joe. I love you, Joe.
Can I say thank you, Brian? One question, specific question. Does this doctor know what's happened to me?
The doctor is aware of what's going on, but, to some degree. But the truth of the matter is...
I imagine he doesn't know that much because I doubt that you've actually been talking to him.
Well, he hasn't. That's the thing. Joe has not contacted him. Joe has not followed up in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you're not continuing to order any of this product, right, Joe?
No.
Yeah. So that's it. He probably just figured, hey, you know what? Joe's unhappy, and he also understands your mental state over the years. And that's, my advice would be to contact him. Go and see him. Next time he's in New York, ask him to stop by. Have him check out your scalp. Is it possible? You think it's even possible that it's not as bad as you think?
No, it definitely is. I used to be able to color to the top, and now I can't do that, and not enough hair up there. I know my hair, and I lost a lot of the hair thanks to the laser cap.
Now, you keep saying thanks to the laser cap. I'm not a fan of low-level laser light therapy for hair loss. You know how I feel about that. We do not recommend it at this point through the American Hair Loss Association. However, I actually think it's probably the medication that caused you to lose your hair as opposed to the laser therapy. Why don't you blame the medication? Right. Why are you blaming the laser cap? I'm not saying that you should, like I said, I'm not a fan. I know there are doctors out there who I happen to think do great surgical work, who are great hair transplant surgeons, who promote these laser caps. But if a friend of mine said, hey, Spence, what should I do for my hair loss? I'm not going to tell him to go buy the laser cap. I know Brian apparently went out and bought one. But
I got one.
It certainly wasn't on my suggestion.
No, it was before I called in. And in my opinion, this is my opinion. It doesn't hurt. I don't know how much it helps. The main thing I think it does is it slowly dries your hair. Like when if you come out of the shower and it kind of makes it feel fuller. But I got it. I still use it.
You use it like as a hairdryer.
Yeah, the old-fashioned hair dryers from the 70s, except for using laser, and it takes like 3 times as long to dry your hair. I negotiated. I think it was 2,500 when they were selling it. When I bought it, I negotiated like 1,000 off. I think I got it for like 1,500.
Oh, I see. Well, Spencer, I want to thank you and Brian and Joe. And I want to say thanks to my friend Dave Bautista, who counsels me. He prevented me from taking my own life. I have to say that.
Well, Joe, listen, we're all here for you. So I want you to know that you can call in. Feel free to call in. I know I have your number on caller ID. So I'll pick up the call. If you want to talk, just call us, man. That's what we're here for.
It.
All right? My advice, I'm going to just speak in a second, but my advice is to contact this doctor. Take some images. Let me see some pictures. Send us some pictures. Do you have any before and after pictures? Just crop out your face, just the top of your head.
Just devastating, Spencer. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, we're gonna call it a night. Brian from Los Angeles, thank you for the call.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. I really appreciate it, and I think you gave Joe some great advice. Joe from Staten Island, come on, man. We love you here, so just hang in there. I'm glad you called. I mean, you did bring down the show a little bit, I have to admit, but I am glad you called. It's good to hear your voice.
Glad I'm drinking.
Thank you, Spencer.
All right.
You know what? Might I suggest a situation here? Joe, why don't you call in with the Positive Joe segment a week? One positive thing, a joke, anything. Positive Joe from Staten Island. That's what I want to hear, a segment.
Hey, you know what I'm going to play Positive Joe's opening.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may reiterate it?
my name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
my name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Now, Joe, I mean, if you don't call in, no one gets to hear that, and people miss it.
I needed it. I needed a shot of that in my veins. You see, Joe?
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Joe. Please, man. Call in with some positivity just once. Next week, call in. Give me one good thing positive. I want to hear one good thing you did. Give me a joke. I don't care what it is, but I want to hear you smile and laugh.
I went back in time but didn't contact the...
I didn't get that. Broke up.
I have no idea what he said. Something about going back in time, but he's talked about that before.
That's my 2 cents.
Well, listen, guys, Brian, great advice, great call. Joe from Staten Island, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck. We are here for you. Feel free to call. I'm going to pot you guys down. Let me give out the websites. Of course, if you want to check out archives of this broadcast, you can go to thebaldtruth.com. Also, guysfromqueens.com, who is our syndicator. You can check us out on iTunes. Obviously, when you want to listen to us live, I mean, we are live on just about every live internet resource. iTunes Radio, of course, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn, and I'm too old to remember all the different resources. But, of course, you could also watch us on thebaldtruth.com, guysfromqueens.com, Daily Motion. We are on Ustream still, I think, and a bunch of other. There's another one which I keep forgetting that Andrew told me about.
iHeart? Is it iHeart?
Well, besides, of course, iHeartRadio, but I'm talking about video.
Okay.
I forget. Anyway, guys, you want to check out the American Hair Loss Association, AmericanHairLoss.org. If you are considering surgical hair restoration, check out the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. And if you want to interact with each other online, go to our message forum, baldtruthtalk.com. Until next time. Oh, and by the way, Joe Tillman's website, the original hair transplant mentor, my sidekick on the program. It's hairtransplantmentor.com. Do me a favor, ask him the questions. I've been answering your questions for 20 years.